Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, Roth, the Motor City Mad Mouth, and along with me tonight is Mel Farr. How you doing, Mel?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
All right, and doing great. Thanks for asking. And up I-85 in Charlotte is Rick Curti. How you doing, Rick?
Hey guys, how are you?
All right. Ready to make a new friend and a new colleague tonight? Because you guys just did it. Connections up I-85. I know Mel Farr will be more than happy to take you to the Big Chicken out in Atlanta when you do get out there. Not like you have to go very far to go to this joint. We had a good time there in December, for sure.
The I-85 connection, I like it.
There you go. I expect you guys to have a lot of good connections tonight. So, with that said, we're going to talk about the recent NFL draft of 2020. And first of all, we'll lead off with Jordan Love going to the Packers. What are your thoughts about that move, Mel?
I was surprised, to say the least. You got Aaron Rodgers. It says a lot. It says a couple things. Number one, I was surprised because you got Aaron Rodgers, who's right at his prime, getting ready to go over to where he's going to start to have a little slide downward as far as his ability is concerned. And if you have him at that point right now, I would think that you'd want to try to add as many pieces as possible to make a playoff push for these next couple of years, and see if you can't get in there and win your Super Bowl within the next couple of years. And he's got 4 years left on his contract. You think you got a good 2 or 3 years with him. Try to do everything you can to get as many weapons, whether it's on offense or whether it's on defense, to try to help get him back to the Super Bowl and have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. The second thing about it, what it tells me is that Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be out of there in 2 years. They probably don't want to pay him Tom Brady type money when he gets to be 38, 39 years old. They don't want to pay that quarterback $25, $30 million a year at that particular time. So I think what it tells me is that 2 years, I believe that Aaron Rodgers will be gone. So I was very surprised by that pick.
Rick?
Well, I'm going to go the other way, and I wasn't really surprised. I thought the Packers should have gotten a quarterback about a year or two. Aaron is 36 years old. He's been injury prone. And Love is just not ready. It's not like he's going to compete with Aaron Rodgers. He's about a 2-year project. So what I think is going to happen is that it's going to be sort of like deja vu. Remember when Aaron Rodgers was drafted and Brett Favre wasn't happy, and he said, they don't pay me to teach people, they pay me to play. And so kind of Aaron is kind of in that same situation right now. And I think he'll just mentor Love for a couple years. He'll sit on the bench with a clipboard and take notes and learn. And I think in a couple of years he'll be ready. Like I said, Aaron's 36 years old. You have to look at the future, and that's what you have to do. And that's what the Packers are doing. I'm just more surprised by Aaron Rodgers' kind of attitude about it, since he's been in that situation where he was the student and now he's the teacher. And I'm kind of taking a little surprised that he got kind of upset by it or offended by it. But it's not like they're going to bench him. It's not like it's a quarterback controversy. They're preparing for the future. He's the student. He's the teacher. Love is the student. He's going to teach him. And, maybe in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, maybe he'll retire. Or he might do like Tom Brady, might sign like a 1 year, 2 year deal with somewhere else. Maybe San Francisco. I don't know. And, but it'll be fine. But, they had to do it because they had to look at the future.
Yeah, my take on this, guys, is the fact that Rodgers has had a recent injury history. So you certainly want to have a viable guy there in the event that he doesn't hold up for a season. But by the same token, Mel, for the Packers to not draft a wide receiver in the draft, and undoubtedly one of the deepest drafts for wide receivers, to me is a little bit mind-boggling. Don't you think, Mel?
Not really. That just probably says that they like what they have there.
Okay.
They know what they have on the roster. They also know what they have on the practice squad.
Right.
I think it says that they just like what they have there. And offense wasn't necessarily the problem. They were 13-3 last year, and it wasn't necessarily because of Aaron Rodgers' arm all the time. They're committed to running the football.
Right.
And I think they did get a running back, and so I think they're probably happy with what they have with the wide receiver position. But they wanted to. I don't believe they want to pay the guys that next year. There's going to be a free agent, I believe. I don't think they want to pay him next year. and they wanted to get a running back to make sure that they can continue to run the ball the way that they've been doing it, at least the way they did it last year.
Well, no, the running back they did get was from Boston College, and he ran for a lot of yards, and I think it's like 240 some odd pounds. So, yeah, if you're looking to control the ball, then you got yourself a pretty good draft pick in round 2. So there's no question that they're trying to expand upon that. No question about that one, Mel. So, but I don't know. I think that when you look at the Packers, they did go from Farr to Rodgers, and they're looking for a generational type of quarterback. And I knew that when the Packers traded up with the Dolphins, they were going to take Love. I mean, that was so absolutely obvious. I mean, because at that point, I don't think they expected Love to fall that far. Now, do I think that he's going to be one of those people that everybody looks back like a Dan Marino or anybody that falls? I'm not going to go there. But, they're trying to have continuity at that position. No more or less different than when you have Peyton Manning handing over the reins to Andrew Luck, unlike the Bears who have to go through quarterbacks every couple of years. So I could see where the transition would be. Any closing thoughts on that one?
Well, I don't know whether or not if they did expect Love to be there. I mean, I think he was a wild card.
Yeah.
Somebody had to fall in love with him, and obviously Green Bay did.
Right.
And they were the one team that fell in love with him, and they have a plan, obviously, in the back of their mind as to when they see him being the quarterback of the future. So, I mean, I think they took him with that in mind, and to sit behind Aaron for 2 years, and then in his third year, he's going to be the starter, and Aaron's going to be looking for someone else to play.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, let's go to the number 1 pick in the draft, Joe Burrow. We'll lead off with you, Rick. What are your thoughts about Joe Burrow on the Bengals?
No surprise there. I mean, everyone knew that he was going to go to the Bengals and things like that, so it wasn't a big surprise that he went there. I've always said from the beginning that Joe Burrow would be a bust, and if I was him, I would have pulled an Eli Manning or a John Elway and said, nope, not going there, sorry, because of their history of quarterbacks, their history of not winning, their history of being inconsistent. I just don't see anything happening with Joe Burrow there. People said probably in his third year he will, could be a great quarterback, but I just don't see it. I just think he's going to be a great college quarterback, and I don't know if he can make that transition from college to the NFL. And I just think that the Bengals organization has been, for years and years and years, been prone to being mediocre, being prone to either being okay or just really bad like they were last season. And I just don't think it's a good situation for Joe Burrow. So that's just my personal opinion on it. I just don't see him being this franchise quarterback for the Bengals. And that's just my 2 cents on that, how I feel about it.
Okay, Mel.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for Joe, no question about it. I believe that Joe's going to be a pretty decent quarterback. I think there's nothing that I haven't seen that he did in college that tells me or leads me to believe that he's not going to be successful at the next level. I believe he's a hard worker. He's got some athletic ability that does translate to the NFL. And the only downside is the team he got picked by.
Yeah, right.
It'd be like going to the Lions. It'd be like it's like going to Detroit. So, I mean, the only thing that might hamper him is the team that he went to.
Well, if he doesn't do anything else in Cincinnati, he'll definitely sell some tickets. The only chance they have is you better hope the rest of that draft is pretty good and some of those weapons, because I believe they drafted a wide receiver right away. Otherwise, as Peyton Manning told them, your number 1 is going to be awfully tough. It really is. So,
yeah.
I remember when Matthew Stafford went over, was it to the ESPYs, Mel? You remember that? And I can't remember who the MC of that event was. He said, well, you're going to the Lions. I don't know. We're going to see you here for a while. So, so I guess he kind of got... Remember that, Mel? You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, so Matthew's still there, piling up some yards. So to have a playoff win, but I don't hold that against Matthew. I think Matthew Stafford's a special quarterback. But
I think so, too.
Yeah, I do. I mean, but Joe Burrow... all I can say is I'm really, really, really rooting hard for the Ohio kid to do some things in Ohio. So I wish him well, but it's gonna be a tough go for a while until I'm convinced, like the two of you guys are, that anything can turn around. So all right. Well, we'll move on to another one. This one's an interesting one, Mel. So we're gonna let you lead off. What are your thoughts about Josh Rosen? He's with the Miami Dolphins now. He's probably going to be third on the depth chart. I personally don't think the guy is a bust. He started with Arizona, lands with Miami. I don't think that he ever got a fair shot, and I do hope that Josh Rosen gets a fair shot. Mel, you can lead off for us, please.
Well, I'm a UCLA guy, and I was never impressed with Josh Rosen.
You
I'm
weren't.
the wrong guy to ask.
Okay.
I'm the wrong guy to ask. Yeah, he never got a shot, but there's a reason why he's never gotten a shot.
Okay.
I don't think the guy can play the position.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. I just think that football is not that important to him, and I think that's showing in his play. I didn't particularly care for him at UCLA. I didn't see what everybody else saw in him, and he may never get a chance to prove that he can play. That's just it's a tough business. That's just the way that it is. But I'm not surprised that he's in the position that he's in because I never saw what everybody else saw in him.
Okay, well, that's fair. Okay, Rick, go ahead.
Well, to me, Josh Rosen has never been given an opportunity. I mean, he got drafted by the Cardinals at number 10. He played one season, and then all of a sudden, boop, bye, get out the door. They totally changed head coaches. Of course, they got a new quarterback, and now he went to the Dolphins, and, he Fitzmagic or Fitzpatrick, whatever he wants to be called, he was the starting quarterback there, and now they got Tua. So I guess he'll be the third string. So, I mean, he won't get an opportunity there. So, to me, he's just been from one bad franchise to another, who've had issues with quarterbacks for the last couple of years. And so I think I'm surprised it didn't happen. I thought actually Belichick would take a gamble at him. Like, why not? You're going to get him for cheap. You're only going to get give away like a 5th or 6th round pick for him. Why not get Josh Rosen? He's young and stuff like that, and I think you could do something with him. I think in the right situation, with the right team, the right coach, sort of like Joe Burrow, I think he could do something, but he's never been given that opportunity, so I can't say he's been a bust because he's not no organization has given him an opportunity, so it's like someone who's drafted and is always hurt. You can't call him a bust because the guy's always hurt. Same thing with Rosen. He's just never been on the field because the two organizations have just completely dropped him. So, unfortunately for him, he might not get another opportunity, or he had to go to a team to get that opportunity, and they just had to take a gamble at him. And I don't know if there's any NFL team that would. The only one I could see doing that was the Patriots, and obviously they didn't do that.
So, Mel, I do.
He's got to compete. He's got to compete. The NFL is about competition, and there's competition in every position. Whether it be running back, offensive line, linebackers, defensive line, corners. Quarterbacks want to be given everything. He's got to go out there and compete and win the job. And I just never saw that competitive fire in him, that competitive spirit in him while he was at UCLA. That's why I never cared for him.
Okay.
Right.
Personally. That's why I never cared for him. And you got to go out there and compete. If he wants to play, if he thinks he should play, it'll show. He'll get out there and he'll compete, and he'll win that job and make Tua sit.
So Mel,
you got to go out there and compete.
Mel, with that said, I have a question for you that just came to mind while you guys were talking about it. Do you think that Joey Harrington is a bust?
Joey Harrington was a bad franchise.
He won?
I like Joey Harrington. He was a bad franchise.
Yeah.
When he got drafted. And, he had to go in there and compete with Mike McMahon when he got there. But they kind of, gave him the position. But he still had to go in there and compete. I just think that Joey, who was there? Matt Millen and Marty Morningweg.
Right.
He just got there at a bad time. I think Joey Harrington was a decent quarterback. Now, he had an opportunity to play.
Right.
Which is more than I guess we're saying that Rosen has had that opportunity to do. But he was a high draft pick. He was going to be given every opportunity to show that he cannot play. Mm-hmm. When you're a first-round draft pick, a high draft pick like that, you're going to be given every opportunity to show that you cannot play. It's much harder to show that you cannot play than it is, it's much harder to show that you cannot play than it is to show that you can play. You're going to get every opportunity to prove to the team that they were wrong in selecting you. You're going to get every opportunity to do that. When you're a a low-round draft pick or a free agent, you're not going to be given that many opportunities to prove that you can play.
Right.
So he's going to have every opportunity to prove that he cannot play, that they didn't make a mistake.
The only reason why I won't call Joey Harrington a bust, Mel, and you were talking about that, is number one, Matt Millen, Marty Morningweg, and then Steve Mariucci, yet another offensive coordinator. There is no way that I don't think a quarterback can succeed with too much instability in the head coaching position and the offensive coordinator. I would find it hard to continue to learn a new playbook practically every other year. Don't you think, Mel?
Absolutely.
Right.
Especially with different philosophies. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
You got every year you got a new guy coming in, and he's got a different philosophy. Absolutely. That's tough on a young kid. That's tough on a veteran. So it's definitely tough on a young kid. But I always like Joey, man. I always liked him. I like his competitive spirit. I liked what he did at Oregon. I always thought he was a decent quarterback. I just think, unfortunately, just like Matt Stafford, it's a bad team.
You want to know something interesting, Mel? You talk about Oregon. I once saw Oregon take on Arizona, and Harrington threw for close to 500 yards in that game. And that was, ironically, it was the same weekend the Lions were in town to play the Cardinals, where I think that was pretty close. And I was telling my good friend up there that there's a pretty good quarterback out here in the Western Oregon, Joey Harrington. Yet, ironically, they drafted him, so it's not like I'm going to be getting any general manager jobs opening at all for cursing the Lions any more than they needed a big curse. So, I don't view Joey Harrington as a bust. Now, you guys talked about something interesting about players having bad luck when it comes to being hurt. We'll take it to the NBA for a moment. Greg Oden and Sam Bowie, you always wonder what would have been if injuries didn't derail their careers. So, let's hope that doesn't happen here. But those are two guys that stood out in my mind. So with that said, Mel, let's go on to the New England Patriots. Obviously, they've had one off season that they certainly wish they didn't have. Tom Brady and now for that matter, Gronkowski goes down to Rob Gronkowski goes down to Tampa. What are your thoughts about how far the Patriots prediction? Have they regressed, or do you think they're still going to manage okay? Mel, you lead off, and then Rick follows suit.
Yeah, when you lose a franchise quarterback like Tom Brady, you're gonna digress. There's no question about it.
Right.
You got to find somebody that can. You just can't plug and play at that position the way that he played that position. You got a guy who has very few, if any, NFL snaps that's going to come in there and try to take over the reins for Tom Brady. It's going to be difficult. It'll be difficult for anybody. It'll be difficult for a veteran. And as you said, I thought that maybe, as it was mentioned earlier, I thought that maybe Bill Belichick might take a flyer on Josh Rosen, and because he does have some NFL experience, he was a high draft pick. Probably thought he could play. Maybe Miami was asking for too much, or Bill Belichick didn't like what he saw on TV there. So, it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be very, very tough for them.
At one point, though, I know when he was coming out of college, Mel, from what I heard, the Patriots were interested in him, but obviously he got drafted, I believe, in the top 10, so never had a crack at him. But a couple of years and maybe enough film would certainly be one to change an opinion. So let's talk about the Patriots. The quarterback room, I know they added Brian Lewerke, the undrafted free agent. I don't know who the other guy was that they drafted undrafted. And, of course, you have Brian Hoyer and Jared Steedham. What does that quarterback room look like, and do you think that they'll still go after another experienced quarterback such as an Andy Dalton or a Cam Newton or whoever else may be out there, or perhaps Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll go after another quarterback. I don't think they're happy. I mean, I think everything they're saying is they're happy with the quarterbacks they have right now, but I don't think they're going to the season with that quarterback room. I think they're going to pick up a veteran, somebody who's played, because there's guys out there who have played and that they can get. I mean, they could acquire Josh Rosen in a trade if the compensation made sense. I don't know if Cam Newton will go there based on their cap situation,
right,
and a one-year preview deal. But that'd be a good situation for him. At least he knows he'd have an opportunity to start. But yeah, I do expect him to pick up somebody else. I don't think they're going to go into the season with just those guys.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, my prediction is they'll stay in Cincinnati to be the backup for for Burrow. So would you go as far, Mel, to make a prediction about whether the Patriots will finish? And then, Rick, you can provide yours.
Okay.
What do you think, Mel?
You said, would I make a prediction as far as what now?
Yeah, well, what record do you think the Patriots will have?
Oh, they're going to be under 500.
That's what
They weren't a very good football team. They weren't a very good football team. They had no explosiveness on offense. Defense, statistically, they were one of the better defenses in the league. But as far as personnel-wise, and you look what they did in the playoffs, they weren't a very good defense. So I think they're going to struggle. They're not going to be 500. I give 6-10.
Really?
Is where I think they'll be. Oh yeah, they're going to struggle.
Well, Xavier McKnight last week predicted the same thing, 6-10, and I've been in the 6-10, 7-9 territory. All right, Rick, what's yours?
Well, I never count Bill Belichick, so we're going to see how great Bill Belichick is as a head coach. We're going to see, was it Bill Belichick that made them great, or was it Tom Brady, or was it a combination? So it's going to be really tough for them because their defense wasn't very good last season. They have a lot of holes right there. Of course, they lost Tom Brady. Now they lost Gronk. So it's going to be very, very tough. The only good thing for them is that they're in a very weak division. So, I mean, is it a possibility they could win? Yeah, but I mean, as I look more now about them, maybe 8-8, 7-9, around there.
Okay.
I think they're not going to, like I said, the quarterback position right now is incredibly weak. I would be very, very shocked if they don't pick up someone like a Rosen or a Dalton or a Cam Newton or a Brissett or somebody,
right,
because the Stidham's not going to do it. Hoyer's the journeyman, and the other two guys, I mean, I think they were sitting on their couch last season. So, I mean, they had to do something there, and I mean, why not go after a Rosen unless you're not in love with him, or go for Andy Dalton. Andy don't want to be there. He's been wanting to get out of there for the past last season. And Cam, the thing with Cam, he's been hurt for the last 2 seasons, and shoulder problems, ankle problems, and we'll see what happens with that. Or so it's going to be very, very difficult if they don't have some type of quarterback position in there. I know for a couple of years, Belichick actually wanted to get rid of Brady, and he wanted to put in, Jimmy Garoppolo in there. And unfortunately, he was overruled by Bob Kraft and said, no, we're going to stick with Brady. So I'm sure Belichick, that hurts his craw right now. It's like we could have had Garoppolo as our quarterback right there. And there, I would have given him a chance because I like Jimmy Garoppolo. I've always liked him. He's smart. He's very intelligent. He's very disciplined, and he's doing very well with the 49ers. So, I mean, I know that's going to have to bother Belichick a lot. And I know he didn't want to get rid of him, but
I think Andy Dalton flourishes in a much better situation. Give him a fresh start with a halfway decent coach, and I'll tell you what, the guy would be in heaven.
He might surprise everybody, but right now on paper, they have too many holes, and their defense the last 2 seasons has not been very good at all.
Mel, I would even go as far as to say that Andy Dalton's probably the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Your thoughts?
About Andy Dalton?
Yeah, Mel, do you think that Andy Dalton's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL?
No,
you don't.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think Andy Dalton is what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a number of years, 5-6 years to show it. I think he is who he is. Huh?
Okay, that's fair. All right, let's go on to a pick that probably surprised a lot of us, and that being this: Jalen Hurts landing with the Philadelphia Eagles. I had him taking it for Western Pennsylvania, not Eastern Pennsylvania. Perhaps the Patriots, the Steelers, the Cowboys. But what are your thoughts, Mel, about the Jalen Hurts selection by Philadelphia?
I'm happy for the player. Be honest with you, I'm happy. This shows that hard work and stick-to-itness it pays off. So he and being a great teammate and a great leader, I think it shows that it pays off. And I was surprised that he went to Philly. I actually thought that Baltimore would pick him up, and because Lamar Jackson, he's not going to be able to take those looks forever. I thought that would have been an ideal place for him. And maybe Baltimore had an idea of taking him. He just didn't think somebody was going to take him that early. They didn't think anybody was going to take him that early. But I'm happy for the kid. I don't understand it for Philadelphia, but I'm happy for the player.
Yeah, the only thing I can see, Mel, is them coming up with some packages to get him in the ball game. He would remind me a little bit more of a Cordell Stewart, guys like that they can mix and match packages and rotate the quarterback if you have more of a mobile type of guy, And Cordell Stewart, I remember how Bill Cowher used to love him. He'd get him in the game one way or the other. So, and Doug Peterson has an excellent track record for developing quarterbacks. So, Rick, what are your thoughts about Hurts?
I love Hurts. I've always loved him, and I always saw him as a wild card in this draft where he's going to go. I've never been in love with Carson Wentz. He's a good quarterback, but again, he's been very injury prone. But when I saw them getting Hurts, I always said, well, they're probably going to make him into a wide receiver or something like that, sort of like a Terrell Pryor. So I wasn't really surprised by the pick. I'm happy that he went somewhere. I actually saw him going to the Patriots or going to the Steelers. And like I said, I agree with you, Scott. I think they're going to mix them up, sort of like what they did with Tim Tebow over with the Jets. Put them in some running plays, probably rush for some little touchdowns here and there, maybe some wildcat packages they can do. And then eventually give Carson some rest, and then he'll go in there for a couple plays, and he'll be like the speed for them because Carson's not a very mobile quarterback. So I like what the Eagles did. And like I said, I'm not really have been in love with Wentz, but they have to keep him because they gave up so much to get him. So it's going to be really interesting. I know the Eagles fans were very happy, but guess what? They're never happy.
Well, not only that, Wentz to me has a history situation. So again, you're talking about another situation where a viable backup, in the event that Wentz goes down. So I think I don't know, we want to call it an insurance policy. I think we can do it. So, but any other thoughts about Jalen Hurts, Mel? Would you say?
Again, I'm happy for the player. I'm
okay.
Happy for the player. He does. I think Jalen he can benefit from being around the coaching staff in Philadelphia and can continue to grow as a passer. I think he grew a little bit in the beginning at Oklahoma as a passer. I think he fell back to relying on his athletic ability towards the end of the season. And I think Lincoln Riley did as well, and they started running him a lot more. So he's got to develop as a passer. I'm not saying he's going to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Ben Roethlisberger or anything like that, but he has to be, to be a viable NFL quarterback, he's got to be able to throw the football, he's got to be able to throw it downfield, he's got to be able to throw it on time. He's got to be able to do that. And in the right kind of scheme, he can be very, very successful. Obviously, with the RPOs being so prevalent now in the NFL, if he really hones his skills, he could be a very, very good NFL quarterback because he is a dual threat, because of his ability to make plays with his legs. So that's the wild card in him, but he's got to be able to develop as a passer.
Well, bear in mind, Philly fans booed Donovan McNabb and they booed Santa Claus, so go figure what they're going to boo next. So
they boo everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
They're never happy.
All right, so if that's a city of brotherly love, I would hate to wonder what the word hate means, but okay, that's Webster's Dictionary. Will have to define that one for me. So we'll continue with the quarterback theme, okay, Mel? Tua, is he a bust, or do you think that was a good pick for Miami?
I think it was a good pick for Miami. I mean, I like Tua. I like what he brings to the game. I like his leadership abilities. I like his athleticism. I like how he likes to push the ball down the field. I think they made it, with what they had, you look at what they had on the roster and what was out there. I think that's an excellent pick. I think he's a can't miss pick. Guy was very productive in college, played at a high level, played against great competition, and excelled. So yeah, I think that's a great pick. I don't think that hit is going to be a problem for him. I think it'll be more than healthy. And Camp comes around, and I think he'll do great things in the NFL. Smart kid, understands defenses, gets the ball out there on time, and he's very accurate.
Okay, Rick.
Yeah, I think I'm on an island all alone on this. I've never really been in love with Tua. I just think he's going to be a great college quarterback, and I don't know if he can transition that in the NFL. The one major concern I have with Tua is just being healthy. He's been injured a lot. He's coming back from a devastating injury right now. He's not fully healed right now. If there was a player that I saw that would drop I thought it would be him, and I was really surprised that he stayed up there. Even though Mel Kiper and all the rest said no, he'll go to the Dolphins. He did go where everyone projected him. I wouldn't be in love with the guy. I just think he's too small. I don't know if that kind of play would be successful in the NFL. He's been compared to Drew Brees, to Russell Wilson, and anything like that. So I thought he went too high, and I wouldn't have gotten him. I actually like Love better. I think with him, you can actually he could be the next Pat Mahomes. Love, who knows? So, but I'm not really in love with Tua. I think he's just a great college quarterback, and to me, the major hurdle with me was that he's always injured, and right now he's not fully healed, and I just don't see him as a franchise quarterback for a team.
Yeah, but you know what, Rick, I'll differ with you, and probably I'm more toward Mel on this one. First of all, I think that Tua's going to get a redshirt year anyways. You have Ryan Fitzpatrick there, so you don't need him to play the first year. If they can find enough good weapons around him, provide him with a lot of protection, and Miami addressed a lot of those in the draft because they had a lot of picks, and I think they really used them wisely. But the X factor here, guys, is they brought in offensive coordinator Chan Gailey. And Mel, I think when you have a guy like Chan Gailey, he's ideally suited for Tua. What do you think, Mel?
Yeah, Chan's a great offensive mind. Chan was he was my offensive coordinator when I was drafted by Denver way back in the day. And I like Chan. Chan's he's a very tough coach. He coaches hard, but he's very X's and O's oriented. Tua will benefit greatly from having Chan as his offensive coordinator, because Chan is a great offensive mind, and he's going to really teach him the game of football.
Okay. Well, you know what? If the Dolphins hadn't have taken him, Tom Telesco, the general manager for the L.A. Chargers, said he would have had he slid, but he ended up taking Justin Herbert out of Oregon. So, Mel, we'll let you lead off. Do you think Justin Herbert's going to be the heir apparent? Well, it's inevitable he will be, to Phillip Rivers, and how good do you think that Justin Herbert can be, Mel?
I got to watch him play a little bit. He passes the smell test. He looks good getting off the bus. He's big. He's got some athletic ability as well. He moves well. He's got a big arm. I think he has a chance. I didn't see him play a whole lot, obviously, being out there on the West Coast. But I did get a chance to see him play a little bit. There's some things that I like that I saw, some things that need to be cleaned up. I think he's probably a year away. He's sitting behind Tyrod Taylor. I mean, I guess he can learn something from Tyrod and be ready to start next year.
Okay, well, there you go. You have two situations in Miami and Los Angeles where you drafted quarterbacks with 5 and 6, and I think they should both get redshirt years and learn from the veterans. And I don't know about you, Mel, but I don't think there's a more capable guy who's a bridge than Ryan Fitzpatrick. What do you think?
No, absolutely. I mean, he's a smart guy, obviously. Been around the league for a long time, has seen everything. There's not a better guy to learn from him. He's not going to be fooled by anything. I think he'll be a great mentor for Tua down there. So, yeah, I think he should definitely sit his first year, at least sit the first half of the year, and then come out and play the second half of the year after he's gotten adjusted to the speed of the game, the terminology, and all the other things that go along with being an NFL quarterback.
So, Mel, are there any other picks during the NFL draft that stood out in your mind?
The running back from LSU going with 32nd pick to Kansas City.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Kind of surprised that he's the first running back off the board. I was pleasantly surprised. I would have preferred the boy from Wisconsin to line to draft him versus drafting Swift, but I can't argue with Swift. I'm just glad they addressed the running back position and decided to draft another running back. And I know Swift, I think he on a lot of people's draft boards, he was the number one running back. So they got a very good running back, and got a lot of value there by picking him up in the second round.
They sure did, didn't they? I mean, the guy's 5'8", Mel, if I heard correctly, and he's quick, and he I hate to bring in Barry Sanders, but when you have a guy that small that can lose a lot of yards and then go after the big one, it's just so impossible not to go out there and make the comparison. I don't know the guy's name by heart, but I know who you're talking about. And yeah, I hear he was a good pickup for Kansas City. And, Andy Reid knows what to do with these guys anyway. So,
but yeah, Andy Reid kind of back. Andy Reid, they're back to a lot of lateral stuff. Side to side. He's real quick. He's also good catching the ball out of the backfield. He caught a lot of balls. At LSU, and super quick. So he's just another offensive weapon for a team that has a plethora of offensive weapons.
Can you believe the amount of SEC players that got taken in this draft, Mel?
I mean, we always say the SEC is the best conference, and it shows. I mean, that's why people draft the guys that are SEC. They know that they're big-time football. They coach hard. They coach well. And, that's why you see a lot of those guys get drafted. You see a lot of guys get drafted in the first round and throughout the 7 rounds. Yeah, man, it doesn't surprise me. They play the best football.
Well,
and they're tough. Those are some tough kids.
Yeah, since we both have Detroit roots, what are your thoughts about the pick of Jeff Okudah to the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, he was the best player available at that position at that time.
Right.
In the draft, they needed that help. They traded a defensive back during the middle of the season, and they lost their best defensive back, Slay, through free agency. So they definitely had a hole there, and they got the best guy at that position in college football.
Okay. All right, we're going to go over 2 more questions. I know that you're helping your daughter out, but I have a couple more questions, and we'll do it again next week. How's that, guys? All right? First of all,
good.
The NFL, $100 million was raised to the COVID-19 through the NFL draft. What are your thoughts about the fact that we know that we haven't had much sports, but that was to see that amount of money raised for COVID-19, to me, I think was really neat. Some thoughts, Bill, and then Rick, you can follow.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead, repeat that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. $100 million, Mel, was raised for COVID-19 over the course of that 3 days for the draft. Roger,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a ton of money. Man, that's a good deal. That tells some folks haven't been affected by the shutdown. But there's still some money out there. Folks who can give up $100 million. But no, that's good. I mean, this thing is serious. I don't know when or if we're ever going to get back to normal. But this thing is serious, and it hits people differently. Some people get no symptoms, and some people obviously, they take them out of here. So it's a very, very scary thing that we're dealing with nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got to take it seriously.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's face the reality. The NFL draft this year, the viewership was 55 million people that watched the NFL draft, a virtual draft. Are you stunned with that number, Mel, that these are record numbers? The record viewership was 55 million to watch the draft?
No, people were starving for something to watch. I mean, people were
weren't
starving
they?
for sports. What else was on TV? I mean, there wasn't anything else on TV. So, yeah, no, I wasn't surprised by it at all. And I think a lot of people had the TV on and, just left the TV on. I mean, they're on, 2 or 3 channels? So, yeah, they're going to get some record viewership because there's just nothing else on TV.
Oh, that's true, because you had ESPN doing it, you had the NFL Network, and then you had ABC, so they were definitely covered on all bases. Rick, what are your thoughts about the $100 million, then follow that up with the record viewership?
Oh, I think it's great. I love to see all these celebrities and all these organizations and all these leagues step up and just give lots and lots of money for this horrific, devastating thing that we're going on. It's just like almost out of the twilight zone. And so I think it's great that they did that. I think it's great for the NFL, who recently has not been, been in the headlines for the right reasons, of course, with the CGE and, domestic things like that. So for them to raise money like that, I think it showed what a great league they are and what a great organization it was. And the draft was terrific. I think I agree with you guys that there's nothing to watch. It's all news. It's all about coronavirus. People are starving for sports. And I think it was something different, and I think people wanted to see how it would work. Will it be good? Will it be a bust? I thought the NFL did a great job in doing this, the way they was choreographed and constructed together. And to have it at Roger Goodell's man cave was pretty interesting. It was pretty fun. Kind of put the commissioner, instead of him getting booed, that it seems like he likes a lot, but it kind of showed more of his compassionate side, as more of his fun side. So I think it was a big home run for the NFL and what they did in the draft.
Yeah, I found, Mel, it was interesting to see all the different homes by the coaches and the whatnot. You don't see it much. Probably, who knows if we ever see it again. But what were your thoughts about some of the different pads out there, Mel?
Yeah, Jerry and his yacht.
Right.
Cliff Kingsbury, in his little pad.
Oh, yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
Check out, yeah, he had, of course, Bill Belichick, I think he just knocked it by putting his dog out there. Put his dog out there in front of the camera. Yeah, I mean, it's, you get a little, you get to see people's egos. Jerry's got a big ego. So, if he was going to do it, he was going to do it in a big way. And he did it in a big way. He did it with a $250 million yacht. Now, he paid $100 million more for his yacht than he paid for the team.
That's funny, Mel. That really is.
Back in 88, 89. So, I mean, that tells you a lot about the individuals themselves. So you got a sneak peek at how big these guys' egos are.
Yeah, $250 million for a boat's an awful lot of cabbage, isn't it? So, all right, well, now we've reached the part of the show where everybody gets to promote what they want. Before we do that, though, you are listening to the Sports Exchange here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth, and we are glad to have you with us tonight. With that said, we're going to let Rick lead off, and then Mel gets to go next. All right, Rick, let people know how they can reach you.
Well, I'm Rick Curti, founder CEO of the Charlotte Bats. Our website is www.charlottebats.com. Our email address is cltbatsbaseball@gmail.com. You can contact me in our Facebook page at Charlotte Bats Baseball, or Charlotte MLB's or group page. I'm on Instagram at Charlotte Bats or Rick Curti, and I'm also on Twitter at Charlotte Bats Baseball or Rick Curti. You can contact me in any of those venues, and if you have any questions, concerns, or you disagree with me on anything, that's cool with me. Just contact me, email me, and I'd love to hear from everyone.
Okay, Mel, you're next.
Yeah, you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Mel Farr Jr. Also have a website, melfarr.org, that we use for our for the charity, for some things that we do in Detroit and Atlanta. We do a football camp that we do every year that helps kids get scholarships to colleges that did not receive a Division I scholarship, help them get the opportunity to get a Division II, Division III, or NAIA scholarship. So, yeah, you reach me on Twitter at Mel Farr Jr. or hit us at melfarr.org.
All right, and and from our standpoint, you can follow the South Florida Tribune. You go to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. You can email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com if you have any comments about any broadcast that we have on the network. I have a YouTube channel that's called South Florida Tribune. All you need to do is subscribe it. It's free. We are also, if you like the Facebook page, South Florida Tribune, that's another way to get your information. And I've got 2 accounts on Twitter. Scoop, SCOOP, that's 5 3s. Count them, 5 3s, and then the other one is at Tribune South. Now, the one thing that I really like to tell people, that you can also reach me on LinkedIn, Scott Morganroth as well, and you'll find that I'm actually at a Super Bowl, I believe it's Super Bowl 43 in Tampa when I took that shot. But, we can be reached all over the place, so if there's any kind of feedback that you want to send us, by all means, do it. We encourage any feedback to any of our guests, and I'll make sure that we get that out there, and I'll make sure that the guests are aware of some of the things that come in. We can address them on there as well. The one thing, we definitely had a lot of fun tonight, guys, but we hope that we've done a good enough job tonight making sure that you've had good entertainment tonight. That's our objective, is we work very hard to put these broadcasts together, and that we can take away from a lot of the stress that you have, and by listening to our broadcast. I want to make sure that everybody's aware of. I know things may loosen up a little bit, but folks, if you can avoid it, please stay home. Please stay safe. and also practice social distancing. And finally, kudos to our first responders, because Mel Farr, you said it yourself, okay? This is a thankless job. A pandemic is an unprecedented situation. And you know what? Who knows how many times we'll ever experience it in our lifetime. I think once is good enough. But, I think we can all agree on that, right, fellas?
Yep, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Be safe. Be safe and use common sense.
So any closing thoughts to my dynamic duo?
Well, I look forward to doing it again next time.
Well, Mel, you're kind of like in the rotation like once a week, so we'll make sure that I'm looking forward to bringing you on once a week. So hopefully after this broadcast, you and Rick Curti become good friends. And Mel, you're a friend for life anyways with me. That's beside the point. So that's what it is. So I look forward to always introducing new people with one another, and you two guys are unquestionably two of my favorite people, and I enjoy having you on the program. So, we covered the NFL draft. There will be no shortage of NFL news coming up, and sometimes we could probably talk college football a bit, Mel, because I know you like to do that as well, don't you, buddy?
Absolutely.
I love college football.
So then we definitely will cover the gridiron more ways than one. So on behalf of Mel Farr Jr. and Rick Curti, my name is Scott Morgan, Roth Motor City Madmouth, saying good night, and we appreciate you joining us, and we'll do it again soon. Good night, everybody.